United Nations for Israel! United Nations for Israel! United Nations for Israel! Why United Nations for Israel? Well, first of all, because it's God's idea. He wrote in Zechariah 2:11-13, "Many nations will join Yahweh in that day, and they shall become my people. And I will again possess Judah as my portion in the Holy Land, and I will again choose Jerusalem." So the idea was of him, that there will be a lot of nations that will join him, and will join him at the time that he possesses Judah again in the Holy Land and again chooses Jerusalem. That already happened in 1948. So we are almost 70 years after he showed that this is his will, but there hasn't been many nations joining Adonai, but now there will be, and they are called sheep nations, because it says that Yeshua will separate the nations as the shepherd separates the sheep from the goats. That's Matthew 25:32. And he said he will put the sheep nations to the right and the goat nations to the left. And the sheep nations will be the ones that gave him something to drink, gave him something to eat, saw him naked, saw him in jail, went to visit him when he was 30. And they asked him, "So when have we seen you thirsty or hungry or in jail? When did we do this?" And he said, "As long as you've done it to the least of this, my brethren." That's the Jewish people, because he was talking to the nations, between sheep and goat nations, and he was saying, as long as you did it to the least of this, my brethren, my Jewish brethren, you've done it unto me. So the idea of United Nations for Israel is born of his heart, and the truth of the matter is that the United Nations that is established already, and it is in New York and in Geneva, hasn't been for Israel at all. In fact, they have absolutely spent their money and their breath always accusing Israel of something. Well, for example, Syria has been killing tens of thousands of people. They never talk about it. Other places where there are disasters and people are killing people, they never talk about it. But here they come against Israel all the time, and they're not doing Yah's will. And because they're not doing God's will, Yahweh has risen for the end of times a United Nations for Israel that will do his will, his kingdom come, and his will be done on earth as it is in heaven. All the nations are in the valley of judgment because they've come against Israel and against the covenant of Adonai with Israel. There is no political correctness that will stand in his eyes, only biblical correctness. And he said that he will bless those that bless Israel, curse those that curse Israel, and that's the key for the blessing of the curse for all nations. The United Nations for Israel is taking people out of the valley of judgment, nations out of the valley of judgment, to bless Israel and make sure that the door gets open for their nation to become sheep nations. You can join us, become a member, join the movement. United Nations for Israel. United Nations for Israel.
United Nations for Israel. All the countries, all the nations are together. United Nations for Israel.
Yeah.
We welcome you. Come in the front of the city.
Hallelujah.
Chag Sameach.
Chag Sameach. United Nations for Israel. United Nations for Israel. United Nations for Israel. United Nations.